Broadcasting live on YouTube. Welcome, dirty peasants, to episode 3 of the Wartwood Gazette podcast. This week we'll be covering Amphibia Season 2, Episode 17, The Second Temple and Barrel's Warhammer. Now I'd like to introduce this week's guests. Returning to the podcast, we have Princess Cthulhu.
Hey, I'm actually on time this time.
Also back on the show, we have Chuck.
Hello. My tulips have been grown, so I have time.
Nice. And first time on the show, we have Venom.
Hello, I'm your fellow Amphibia fanbase historian.
Thank you, Venom. So before we get into the episode, I guess I'll ask Venom, what are your general thoughts on Season 2 or Amphibia in general?
My thoughts on this season has been very, very good. There's a lot of dire interesting concepts that is bound to happen later this season.
All right. Thank you, Venom. So we're going to start discussing The Second Temple, written by Todd McClintock, storyboard by Drew Applegate and Nate Maurer, and directed by Jen Strickland. So the first, I want to say half of the episode, the planters and girls have arrived in the Amphibia Arctic. They've come across the arch that we've seen way back in Sleepover to End All Sleepovers in Andrews's book, and they're trying to look for the temple, and then they come across Valeriana. Am I saying that right?
It's Valeriana.
Valeriana. Okay, so they come across Valeriana's hut, similar to the Bazaar, and then eventually she explains about the box and what she knows and the secret society she's part of, and she agrees to help the planners get to the Second Temple. So they complete a set of challenge. Well, they are attempting to climb a mountain and traversing the Arctic, and then eventually she gets fed up of Anne constantly going off on her side quests to be a good person, and then once she challenges Valeriana, they get teleported. So in terms of this first half, it didn't really feel like I think in the best way, it didn't feel like a temple episode for myself yet. And I kind of liked how they we'll learn later on what these challenges that Anne had to face throughout this first half. But I liked how it wasn't the same format as the first temple, where it was just basically them traveling across and then facing whatever natural dangers came at them. So let's start with PC. What are your thoughts on this first half of the Second Temple?
Well, on the first half, and I think I do have to agree with you when you say that it doesn't really feel like the other temple, and I think that's a good thing, personally. I think having each temple be very unique was the correct choice. Especially since we've got to do them one right after another. So having each one have its own vibe, I think, was a very good choice. I mean, there's just a lot to talk about, even in this first half of the episode. First, we have fantastic comedy, as usual. I do like the hop pocket that they added to Joe. There's a lot of stuff about Valeriana specifically. I do like how Valeriana appears to have her own musical cue. It's this kind of violin thing that I'm super digging. Little ominous, but not entirely evil sounding. Let's see. I liked when we were in her hut. We saw a lot of fun Easter eggs. We saw the blue shell from the Bazaar episode where her first appearance was. A lot of interesting little tidbits in the background, gems, and random artifacts with similar looking gems that we saw on her stand. This is just a shout out to Advent. Real quick, Advent talked about how maybe those artifacts might come into play in season 3, and considering that it feels like we're not done with Valeriana yet, I think that's quite possible. I think Valeriana's shack of mystical objects might actually wind up coming up, which is super fun. There's
All right, yeah.
yeah.
Oh no, go ahead, PC.
Well, there's just one other thing, and I know that we're not discussing it quite yet, but I did like the little signs that Valeriana was purposefully initiating the tests. Like the obvious one is her whistling right before the cardinal showed up. But when the avalanche was happening, when Anne ran off to the hut, you could actually see Valeriana smiling in the background, which I thought was a really nice touch because you'd have to be looking for it to notice it.
Wait, which part, Valeria?
Well, when the avalanche happens and it's about to hit the hut, and Anne runs off to save whoever's in there. You remember that moment?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, when Anne runs off, you can actually see Valeriana smiling, which I thought was a good touch. It just kind of reinforces that, yeah, Valeriana is initiating these tests on purpose.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think the way that Valeriana goaded Anne was very good, and I know we're getting a bit ahead, but I think Valeriana was very much goading Anne on purpose.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it was way
and
too
yeah,
on the nose.
absolutely. And just to wrap up, because I don't want to take up too much time, I kind of really like how Valeriana just has straight up magic. Not even the curse magic that Maddie has. And we talked about that in the last episode. But this is like straight up like D&D style direct consequences magic that she is able to do. Teleporting, I'm not really shape changing, but we'll get into that later though.
Yeah. Thanks, BC. And now, Chuck, what are your thoughts on this first half?
I thought they were pretty good. I liked how we just got right into the action without like it just got right into it. They were already in the snow. It was nice to see Valeriana again. And yeah, to your guys' points, it was cool to see how it wasn't similar to the first temple. It was different, and it was nice to see how Anne like changed, like how if it was nice to see how far she's come, like helping the planners and such, like saving them, and trying to help the people that went out to lunch during when the avalanche was coming. That was cool to see. And I think, I think that's it for me.
All right, thanks, Chuck. Yeah, I like the gag about how like everyone's out for lunch.
Yeah.
How about you, Venom? What are your? Oh, go ahead, PC.
I was just agreeing with you.
Oh, okay. Oh, I like the caterpillar outfits too. Especially for Polly, she's just like a ball wrapped up.
Yeah, I did really like the outfits. They were really cute.
How about you, Venom? What are your thoughts on this first half?
Despite the first segment, well, the second temple, despite not being a half an hour episode, you will expect a vital part of the to recharge the gems to be like having pacing issues. but surprisingly, there really isn't. You would expect like something to rush through like without any explanation why that is, but there really isn't. And I would like to praise the interesting like music tracks that was played within the episode. Very interesting. And I would well, the ending I would like to find it to be like interesting to say the least. What will be played a vital part near like to the end of its season.
Oh, wait, we're not gonna get into that part yet, Venom. We're gonna save that for the end.
Yeah. Thumb likes to split the episodes into first halves and second halves.
And even for that, for whatever happens at the end, I think we'll save that even after Barrel's Warhammer. 'Cause I
Oh,
think
for
that's
the
for
end.
sure.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of speculation there.
There is. Well, still talking about the first part. I think first off, Marcy, adorable as always. And I don't remember who pointed this out. It might have even been someone in the chat right now. But I quite liked how when something unexpected happened, Marcy froze up and Anne was forced to take initiative.
Yeah, like Marcy, like Anne is definitely like Marcy's a strategist and Anne's like the leader, while maybe like Sasha's like the brawler of the group.
I
So
mean,
I like that.
if you have to put labels on it, then yeah, I could see that. Because Anne is definitely not the strategist. She goes with her gut at basically all times.
Yeah, she's very Wait, how would you describe Anne again?
How would I describe Anne?
Yeah, I'm trying to
Well,
think of a word.
I mean, I
I don't
guess it
want to say
depends on how you're.
headstrong.
I guess it depends on how you're defining it. With the original group, especially pre-Amphibia, I feel like Anne was very much the brawn, Marcy the brains, and Sasha the leader. But I think that dynamic has changed quite a bit post-Amphibia. Anne is still very brawny, as it were, but she has been learning to take initiative, and I could see her going into a leadership role, absolutely. Especially come season 3.
Yeah. Venom, is there anything else you wanted to mention for this first half of the Second Temple?
No, no comment as of right now.
How about you, Chuck?
Anything else?
Yeah, for the first half.
I don't think so. No, I think you guys said it pretty well.
I'm just looking to see if there's anything else we need to cover. I love Hop Pop's aviator hat thing. That's what they're called, right? Like that kind of hat, aviator hat.
With the flaps on the sides, yeah, those are called
Yeah,
aviators. No, the outfits were just on point this episode for sure.
like Sprig's puffy coat making a return.
Yes, sorry, the chat just except for Anne's missing shoe, she's still wandering around the Arctic, still only wearing one shoe.
Uh,
Oh,
why?
why do you do this to us, girl?
At least
wear
Marcy's wearing
pants.
boots.
Yeah, neither of them are wearing pants either. Like, it's cold out.
So I guess we'll get into the second half of the Second Temple. Second Temple. Anyways, so Valeriana does her teleportation spell, and then they end up on that pillar we saw in the trailer, and then she grabs the box, and then her and Anne get into a struggle, and then eventually, like Valeriana like knows everything about Anne, which is immediately is a big red flag. Like knowing she snores, and even more interesting, she knows that Anne took the box back in episode 1 of the series. And then eventually Anne beats Anne beats her in the fight and then saves Valeriana's life, and then Valeriana really reveals that she's the guardian of the second temple and helps her recharge the gem. And I really loved the background for this scene, like the aurora. I don't want to say aurora borealis. Like, I think that's not the exact type. I'm just thinking about The Simpsons, but I really like the background and like the structure, just like a big circle, like an arena, and then it lights up, which we saw in the trailer. And yeah, I really liked that the scene where we just get to see Anne focus on Anne.
Yeah, it was
So
it was a
yeah,
very
go ahead,
visually
PC.
interesting scene that was basically just non-stop character stuff.
Yeah, a lot of season 1 callbacks. But PC, like, what are your thoughts on this, like, on the second half? If
Well,
anything else you want to add?
I'll try to talk a little bit less this time, just so other people have stuff to talk about. Um, I will say I'll talk about how now you all know how I like to come up with insane theories. So I have a theory about how Valeriana knew all that stuff. Uh,
Oh, go
all
ahead.
right. So I noticed that you could get to Valeriana's hut without having to pass through the gate. But the temple itself said that, well, the arch itself, so the gate, said that you must pass through the gate to perilous. I forget what the exact words were. So my absolutely balls to the wall theory is that the gate, well, it's obviously magical, but part of the magic of the gate is that it kind of like reads the hearts and minds of the people passing through it and informs the guardian so that they can properly test them, which is kind of how I'm currently justifying Valeriana knowing stuff all the way back from Earth, even. I am basing this theory on absolutely nothing. I just think it's a cool concept.
Well, I mean, in this world, it wouldn't be much of a stretch.
No, it really wouldn't be. And Valeriana is by far one of the most explicitly magical. No, not even one of. She is the most explicitly magical character we have encountered in the entire show. Like even Maddie does not use magic with such ease or frequency as Valeriana does.
Like, she kind of reminds me of I think someone brought this up in the Discord server. Like, what was the name of the guy from Night Drivers? Zechariah Nettles? Just like a force ghost in this world.
Yeah, there. I don't know if she's a ghost or what's going on, but
Well,
yeah,
she's definitely tangible.
Valeriana is very interesting, and the fact that she cast magic even without her staff means that the magic is entirely inherent to her.
And I really like her Valeriana the White outfit.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna leave it there so other people have a chance to talk to.
All right, thank you, PC. Uh, Chuck, what are your thoughts on the second half?
Uh, I was sort of how I expected it to be. Uh, uh, show like showing us how far Anne has come by like with the callbacks and stuff, and it's like you don't have to do anything physical. It's just a very like internal challenge. Uh, Valeriana challenging her, and yeah, you can see the red flags that she wasn't really intent on getting the Calamity Box. She was just putting up an act. And I guess the line Anne has before she gets the gem, I forgot what it was. Something about like mistakes and responsibility or something. But like I feel like that was a great line to show us how far she's come.
Yeah, I can't remember the line, but yeah, I really liked she said that she made those mistakes and she like learned from them, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess those are my thoughts.
All right, thanks, Chuck. How about you, Venom?
The development of Anne has been interesting for this episode, coming from a long way from the beginnings and right now, recently, helping those people in need in dire situations. That will like how far she has come that to have a much more better payoff of her growth as a character.
Like throughout the episode, oh, Lemur in the chat is telling the line. You were right, I did lie and steal. If that made me unworthy, fine. Those bad choices were mine and I own them. But making them taught me that it's always better to do the right thing. So that's what I did, regardless of how much I didn't want to. Yeah, that's a really nice line.
Such a good line. Like just so good. I don't know how else to describe it. Such a good deconstruction of Anne's character and her development from season 1.
Absolutely. And I also liked how once Anne passes the test, like Valeriana's like the shift in her tone. Like earlier in the episode, she's like kind of like a little like crazy, like a little kooky, little like smug and condescending. But then once Anne passes the trial, I think she says, I'm pulling up the quote. We've waited so long for someone like you to come, and like, and you can like, hear like the sincerity in her voice. I really like that.
Yeah, Valeriana is a good actor, and she deserves credit for that. She kept that facade up like the entire time, and I gotta respect it.
I mean, yeah, because since the temple, like since the second temple isn't really the traditional, wasn't as like the traditional temple format like the first one, like it was really up to Valeriana kind of to like keep up the, how do I say this, like the mystique or like I guess like the scale of the show and like what this is what the like the stakes are. So I guess just like raising the stakes with her dialogue alone, which I like.
Yeah, Valeriana was, I mean, she did kind of serve as the antagonist of the episode in a way, but it it was executed just so well.
Yeah, especially in 11 minutes. Like I'm glad this segment didn't feel rushed, especially
No,
because we've had segments in the past where the stakes aren't as high and they sometimes like felt like they've dragged on or went by too quickly. Yet this episode, like, I think was paced very well.
yeah, Matt and the team have really been showing just how much you can do with 11 minutes of television.
And I think I've talked to each of you about the second half, and I know what happens at the end. The gem gets recharged, maybe, but we're not going to talk about that until after Barrel's Warhammer, because I feel like what happens in Barrel's Warhammer and what happens at the end of this scene, that's a good time for us. That would be a good time for us to talk about speculation then.
But I want to
So
talk about it so bad.
we can't PC, not yet.
There's just so much. There's so much I want to say, but
We gotta
I
bait.
will.
We gotta bait. We gotta bait the 8 viewers on the live stream
Okay, well,
into waiting till the end.
In fairness, I have another huge thing I want to say during Barrel of Warhammer Part 1. So, I'm going to be doing monologuing quite a bit tonight.
That's fine, PC. That's why you're here. But I guess, does anyone have any final thoughts on the Second Temple? We'll come back to Second Temple thoughts again if you'd like to, since we're going to talk about that final scene. Any like smaller details we want to talk about?
No comment.
Oh, I guess I think we already talked about the hot pocket.
Yeah, we'd already discussed the hot pocket. No, there is stuff that I want to say about the Second Temple, but we're saving the season-wide speculation for the end. So, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot else I have to say at this moment.
All right. So I think we're gonna move on to Barrel's Warhammer, and let me pull up the credits for this. So Barrel's Warhammer is written by Michelle Cavan, storyboard by Silver Paul and Elysia Arocha. I'm sorry for butchering that. And directed by Kyler Spears. So let me just pull up this next episode. We basically open up to the Toad Lords essentially being the judges of some sort of like Wartwood's Got Talent, except they die if they fail. But so basically, Sasha, Grime, Percy, and Braddock, they're all trying to impress the Toads to join the rebellion. The Toadloads mention the other hummus humans working for King Andreas, which that's what pushes Sasha over the edge, and then challenges them to try and figure out what will actually get them to join the rebellion. And that's when Aldo apparently comes off his throne or chair or whatever with all the leaves breaking off and tells them to get Barrel's Warhammer. So then Sasha, Grime, and the gang, they go on their quest to get the hammer. And then Percy's a little bit nervous, and Sasha gives the kawaii, or how do I say this?
Kawaii, I believe.
Kawaii pose as like the warning signal, and it's a cute moment. And then we find the hammer just laying there. So I guess we'll start with PC. Is there anything you wanted to cover in this first half?
I'm not sure if we should. Okay, I'll do base, but I want to give everyone else a chance before I do my bit.
Oh, okay. Then
I really like. Yeah, I really just momentary stuff. I really like the Toad Lords. They're fun. I like seeing more toads in general. I really like Percy and Braddock. I'll be honest, I didn't really like Percy and Braddock all that much in Toad Catchers, but this episode really warmed me up to.
Yeah, like Percy and Braddock, like even back in Toadcatcher, they didn't really they're just like there, I guess. But like I've warmed up to them now. Like even looking back and watching Toadcatcher, I still now I like their appearances. I'm sorry if I didn't. For those who are getting upset that I didn't like them before, I know. I'm sorry. But I guess how about you, Chuck? What are your thoughts on this first half?
Well, it was good to see Grime and Sasha again. After like 8 months, I think. It's been too long. Hmm. It's cool to see them having new armor for the rebellion.
Oh yeah, Percy
Uh,
makes
yeah,
their
and
logo.
yeah, which I think is a nod to Grime's eye. I'm not sure.
I believe it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I like Aldo, the dead guy who's not really dead. Uh, he was cool. His voice was cool. His character design was nice. It was cool to know that Grime has a sister. Which is nice, I guess. Um, uh,
All right, thanks, Chuck.
yeah,
And yeah,
yeah,
I liked like Captain Beatrix.
yeah. I think that
She's
was her name.
Beatrix. Like she just looks like Grime, but a girl.
Yeah, Grime with
Even
Ida's
though
hair.
I think that was the concept art though. Like this one, at least, like
Yeah.
her hair is
Oh,
braided and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
Beatrix very much felt like, all right, we take Grime and we make Grime a girl, and then that's his sister.
and I'm guessing she outranks him. Well, prior to reunion, because like was Grime captain of like the South Tower, or was that just Frog Valley? Like was its own thing?
It's
Um,
hard to
I don't know.
tell. I think he might have been a Toad Lord.
Yeah,
I
but now
think he might have.
Braddock. I mean, Bog is, I guess.
Yeah, now Bog is. I learned a lot about. I learned quite a bit about frog culture, but not enough, and now I just have more questions, to be honest.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure like maybe there'd be more than like four captains. Maybe these are just like these towers are maybe like more significant or larger strongholds. I'm not sure. I I don't think we'll learn more about it because I'm guessing these guys will probably show up in a later episode. But
At least their
uh,
soldiers will, I guess, if there's like if they when they invade Utopia,
yep.
the resources and stuff.
But anything else, Chuck? Like about like anything else you want to cover?
Um, mm, I don't think so. I think that's all that
Or
came to my mind.
all right, how about you, Venom? What are your thoughts on this first half of Barrel's Warhammer?
It's an interesting start up to the episode, opening with the what was it, the North Tower they're at?
Yeah, they're at the North Tower.
Planning like to encourage for the other Toad Lords to join Grime and Sasha's rebellion to plan out a siege invasion to Utopia to overthrow King Andreas, to have the Toads to gain a upper power up in superiority over of Frog Valley.
Yeah, I like those little like those little drawings that Sasha had in the background while Grimes giving his like recruitment speech with just like Andreas with the spears getting pointed at him and then like the flip animation of the toes with the crown. It was cute.
That was very cute.
And I guess PC, did you want to monologue for this first half, or are you saving that for the second half? Or do you have
I should probably okay. I mean, there's just a lot to talk about, and it's going to be another one of my theories. I know, I'm very sorry, but
the
so
floor is yours?
I'm going to talk about the non-theory stuff first. I absolutely love the designs of all the Toad captains. I love Bufo quite a bit. He's awesome. The samurai vibe he's got going is great, and I kind of hope we see more of him. I really hope he's not a one-off. I liked Beatrix a lot. Beatrix was fun. I really liked how she's just constantly jabbing Grimathy. And learning that Grimes' real name was Grimothy was just the best. I will say, now that we've seen Grime and his sister, I really want to know about their parents. I really, really want to know what kind of parents names one of their kids Beatrix and one of their kids Grime.
Well, not Grime, Grimmeth. What
Oh
was
yeah,
it
I guess
called? I
you're
don't
right. I
know.
guess it is Grimothy. No, wow, I didn't even. I just said I love how his name is Grimothy, and then I totally didn't think about all the consequences of that. All right, I guess they didn't name one of their kids Grime, but I still want to know about their parents because Grime did
And
still wind up in the Coliseum one way or the other.
yeah, that's like the weird thing. Like, since they're both the captains, or she's a Toad Lord, so I'm guessing like they have some sort of like influence, or their family maybe has some sort of influence within the Toad army.
Yeah, like some sort of. I mean, we heard that Grimes' like last name is a spoiler, according to Matt. It's possible that Grime actually comes from like well, not noble, but like from a famous family of toads. Well,
It's a
and
possibility.
by extension, his sister. Um, I well, I really liked. First off, I like the hummus joke. It's stupid. It's the stupidest running gag ever, but I kind of really like it.
Wait, have we heard the hummus thing before in an earlier episode?
No, this is the first time, and it's running because it's throughout the episode. They just keep on calling humans hummus, and I don't know why. That shit's just kind of funny to me. It's dumb, but like in the way that just tickles my funny bone just right. Uh, I like Sasha's emotional outburst quite a bit. The one that she had when she learned about Marcy and Anne working for Andreas. I really liked just you could see the complicated, messy tangle of emotions going just washing across her face. And I think Sasha, having emotional and ultimately violent outbursts is a really clear tell about the direction that she's going to be going for the rest of the season. Uh, so yeah,
Yeah,
that's really fun.
yeah, it's unfortunate for Sasha, but at least it's entertaining for us.
Yeah, I mean that's the main thing. And but now we're getting into the all right. I would like to apologize beforehand to everyone, but I gotta talk about Beryl. Uh,
Beryl the Brave.
Beryl the Brave, and we've been speculating since basically the name that the episode names dropped like in December.
Like,
That
yeah, like
that
Christmas Eve, I think.
yeah it was Christmas Eve. It was a Christmas present to us,
Yeah.
and we've been speculating about is Beryl the painting toad.
The painting
Uh,
toad from the sleepover to end all sleepovers
yes,
in the
sorry,
basement.
that's specify. Yeah, the toad in the painting in the sleepover to end all sleepovers. And we've been speculating about that, and there is evidence supporting the fact that he is, and there's evidence that kind of says that maybe he's not, and we can't really confirm either way. I personally still believe that he is, and I really want him to be because it just kind of feels right, but admittedly I can't prove that in any way. But all of that being said, and this is just a setup, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm going to
we've
sorry, what?
no, nothing. Go ahead, PC.
No, this whole crazy monologue I'm about to do is kind of based on the premise that Beryl is the toad in the painting. And if he is the toad in the painting, and if the legend of Beryl is true, then that has huge implications. Because we've talked about like what caused what caused Andreas to rip up the painting, and we thought that they had a falling out, or maybe Andreas betrayed his friends. But we learn in this episode that, at least allegedly, Beryl died
Fighting
defending
the
toads.
right.
Yeah, Beryl died defending toads from a narwhal worm. And I mean, I kind of feel like that's not what I was personally expecting. And it's really interesting because, I mean, first off, the way that the hammer reacted, getting all powered up and stuff, and I know, we're not getting into that right now. We're not getting there right now, but it's important because it kind of implies that Beryl was gem attuned. And, Beryl being gem attuned kind of implies that the other two people in the painting were as well. But despite all of that power, Beryl died trying to save people. And for whatever reason, the way Beryl and Andreas's relationship ended led to him tearing up the painting and tossing it in the basement. And that feels huge. Like, did Beryl's death split apart the other two friends forever? And that's why the painting was torn up? Was Andreas upset that his friend, with like all of that power, gave his life to save a bunch of nobodies? Like, is that why Andreas is doing what he is doing? Like this, I'll be honest, when I feel like it kind of feels like the details around the demise of Beryl the Brave could quite literally be the fulcrum around which the entire show hinges. Because whatever happened to Beryl, assuming that Beryl is the toad in the painting, it caused Andreas to tear that painting up and presumably destroyed Andreas's friendship with the frog.
Well, one thing's for sure. Like, I think whatever revelation we get about that painting way back in that episode is for sure going to come from Andreas. Like, and that's definitely it's not. It's yeah. I do think that Beryl. I feel like if Beryl and the frog and the toad in the painting were two separate characters, I think they just would have shown some sort of like cutaway gag of this guy getting like killed by a worm. So yeah, I definitely think that they're connected.
Yeah.
But Venom and Chuck, do you guys have any other thoughts on before we go into the second half of this episode?
No comment.
All right.
Yeah, no comment.
So basically, they find the hammer just submerged in the ground, and they struggle to pull it, and then we meet the narwhal worm, which is what they're on top of this whole time. So then there's a struggle to get its attention, and eventually they start riding it while attempting to remove the hammer. And then eventually, Sasha starts steering the narwhal worm, and eventually they start heading towards the North Tower. And then, so once they start pulling the hammer, like, I don't think anyone started talking about Marcy or Anne. It's just Sasha. Like, they were just living the thought of them like together without Sasha, just like was living rent free in Sasha's head. And then we get that signature gem that signature like five frames of pink eyes, and then Barrel's hammer apparently lights up, has rockets in it, and then eventually they defeat the narwhal worm and earn the allegiance of the toads. So I think we'll start with they get the allegiance of the toads, but they lose the allegiance of Percy and Braddock for endangering their lives.
Yeah.
So, Venom, what was your thoughts on the second half of this segment?
Gotta appreciate the composer T.J. Hill, who composed the soundtrack for Amphibia, for like amping up the music for this episode. Very like good hard hitting animation that spike up, that sync in with the music. And also that where Sasha made a promise to Percy and Braddock, like of having to give in a signal, of having to like pull out at the very last second in case one, like if things get sour. Of course, Braddock and Percy gave the sign, but of course, like there were like what's interesting to see is that Sasha has hesitated to whether or not to pull out, because he could either have a dire strain of possibly straining their relationship.
Friendship.
Of course, and then of course Sasha like did the obvious part, get Barrel's Warhammer, and she's doing it as desperately to get the hammer, just to prove the Toad Lords, and in the end it all backfired on her. Like it left like all backfire on her, that both Percy and Braddock left Sasha and Grime, because knowing that having to pull these extreme situation could have a dire impact on both of them, and I'm pretty sure it gave implications that Sasha knew this as well.
Yeah, Sasha slipping, like breaking that promise she made to Percy and like Braddock is like I kind of felt like I kind of knew it was coming. I didn't expect Percy and Braddock to just like walk away from the rebellion.
Yeah, I gotta give him mad props for that.
But anything else, Venom?
No comment. No comment.
Okay, thank you, Venom. How about you, Chuck? What was your thoughts on this second half?
I liked how we got to expand on Sasha and how she was like on Earth, I guess, with Anne and Marcy in a way, showing that she's more goal oriented. And she will do anything to like achieve her goals, whether it means like breaking promises, like she did with Percy and Braddock. We got to see we got to see more of like more examples of like toxic codependency between Grime and Sasha, which I'm sure like PC can like expand upon, but he was like fueling her those toxic like tendency, like those toxic traits, I guess. Yeah, and then we finally get the eye glow, which was cool to see. Sasha being really strong, I guess, showing her feats of strength. And then the hammer has rockets, which was cool. And then we get to the heartbreaking scene with Percy and Braddock leaving. which I thought was unexpected. I guess didn't expect them to just walk out and just like leave the rebellion.
I really liked how frantic this last half was. I really like. I
Yeah,
think who animated this? Rough Draft Korea.
Yeah, I believe it
I
was
think
Rough
so.
Draft.
Oh, okay. I like. It was done really nicely. Like especially like the scale of the narwhal worm, just like wrecking the area, like wrecking like the lake or whatever river they were going down.
Yeah.
And how about you, PC? What are your thoughts on the second half?
Well, like the fight animation, fantastic. And honestly, if this is what fight animation is going to look like going forward, I am 100% on board. Like, yeah, I'm just excited for just to see more stuff like this personally. Um, I do think God, sorry, just recollecting my thoughts. Uh, I do think it was very interesting that Sasha's eye glow was initiated not by her even protecting other people, but 100% out of her sheer rage about Marcy and Anne doing stuff, and kind of sounded like succeeding without her was part of what really motivated that. I don't know if anyone else picked up on that or not.
Yeah, I did like get that.
Uh, yeah, that was good. I would like to do a little bit of bragging. I did kind of at the very last like the night before, I did kind of predict that the hammer was going to be embedded in a giant monster, and that scene in the 2B trailer was Sasha and Grime working together to lift the hammer up to hit the giant monster they were riding. And I'm gonna take full credit for that one.
Did you write
Uh,
down the prediction game?
I did not. I thought of it literally the night before, after I had done the prediction games. Otherwise, I totally would have. The one thing that I think is nice, like just in general, uh, we finally can put to rest the color of Sasha's gem. Like that is
Oh,
that
I
has
still
been.
I was
Sorry,
I
what?
was an early I was I used to think it was the purple gem, but now like the evidence is
It is.
overwhelming. It's
It is.
pink. It's
It
pink.
is pink. It is a pink gem, and that is finally that I that is finally confirmed, and we can put this behind us. All
Oh,
in all,
I like. Oh, go ahead, PC.
no, sorry. All in all, I really loved basically the entire last half of this episode. Uh, yeah,
I
no,
really.
and I especially loved when Percy and Braddock decided to leave. And I talked about this in the chat before, but Grime is like enabling Sasha in these violent, irrational outbursts that she's having. He encourages her like in the battle to take things farther and farther. And when Percy and Braddock decide to leave and they say, Sasha, it's because, you broke our trust. Grime basically says people have their limits. All dreams require sacrifices, and not everyone is willing to make those sacrifices, which is kind of shifting the blame onto Percy and Braddock for not being strong enough, rather than to Sasha for betraying them.
And even compared to season 1 Grime would not have said the same thing to like about Percy and Braddock. He would have just like called them cowards. But like he's grown, but he still has the same mindset, I guess.
I think he is softened for sure. He is definitely softened, and it's a lateral move for him, I feel. Because I
I
mean,
really
at the end of the day, yeah, he didn't call Percy and Braddock cowards, but Percy and Braddock were the only toads that stuck by him when the tower fell. And
yeah, they still stuck by even as like lowest point basically, and now they're probably gonna like ride high on this like Toad Rebellion,
yeah,
and
but
now they're bailing out.
the moment that they were like, I don't feel safe doing this with you guys, Grime basically just tossed them aside.
Uh, I really hope we see Braddock and Percy though.
I do too, although it might be season 3.
Yeah, like I don't see like how the trajectory, how they could show up. I really like that the custom armor joke.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it was all cosmetics, which is funny because of how realistic it is. Like apparently, what did that scientist Toad say about the budget or something? I don't know.
The scientist Toad said that last year we were focusing on armor durability. Now we're focusing on armor customization. To which I believe Captain Bufo replied, "That's a nice duck." When it was revealed that the armor had a picture of a duck on it.
What was the name of that general? I really he has such a cool design, even though it's
Who?
just mostly like the other Toad Lord with the samurai shoulder pads.
No, that's Bufo.
Bufo, yeah.
Yes, we got Bufo, the kind of samurai looking one, Beatrix, Lady Grime, and then Aldo, the
Dead
guy
guy.
who I think he might be dead.
Yeah, he's probably died.
So I think we've covered most of Barrel's Warhammer. I think does anyone have any more thoughts on these two on this episode before we go back to the second temple?
Um, I guess the only good thing about Percy and Braddock leaving is that they're not like dying anytime soon. I guess if anyone
Oh,
was worried, I guess, but like if anyone was gonna die during the invasion, side characters, I guess.
our favorite Toad couple will remain safe.
Yes.
We need like the credits at the end to say Percy and Braddock will return in Amphibia season 3.
Oh, yeah, I hope they're back. They're great.
But I guess now's a good time to talk about the end of the second temple, where the gem is slowly recharging. We hear the planners yelling, and then Anne grabs the gem and gets Valeriana to teleport her back, and we get a shot of the gems on the box. Everything fades to black, and the blue gem is flickering. So, how do we start this? This is I'm surprised this gag of Marcy showing cute animal pics has basically altered the course of the series.
Yeah. Yeah, Marcy really just kind of changed the course of history by showing cute animal videos to the planters.
And like Venom, what are your thoughts on this? Like, how do you think this is going to come back into play?
we know full well that the gem isn't fully recharged, knowing that and partially still have her calamity gem powers.
Assuming their powers. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
So knowing that she partially still has her gem powers, knowing that who knows Andreas has for plans for the calamity box. Once all the 3 gems are gonna recharge, knowing that Andreas has plans for the box to use it, but then we could say that knowing that only only the blue gem only has halfway through, knowing that Andreas's plan won't like temporary at least like delayed in his plans.
Yeah, like we don't even know what Andrews is up to, but we know that he for sure did not calculate for this. He didn't calculate for Marcy's cat videos. But
No, he definitely did not.
Chuck, what are your thoughts on how do you think that this incomplete gem recharge is going to impact the season?
I think it's kind of like a bittersweet thing because like Andreas's plans are going to be delayed somehow, but at the same time, I don't think they're going home. I guess because since it's not completely charged, so I don't know. I feel like it might come to play when, like maybe around True Colors when Andreas has the box, and then I don't know something happens, and then he starts getting panicked or something. I don't know. I guess like when yeah. I guess those are my thoughts.
And yeah, I think throughout the season, we what we've seen of Andrews is that he's been in control of the situation ever since Marcy probably teleported into Newtopia. So it'd be interesting to see how he'd react when this
Yeah,
for this miscalculation or not miscalculation, this unknown variable.
yeah. Other than Sasha.
And even with Sasha, I'm guessing he's somewhat aware of the Toad rebellion, but I'm well, of course he doesn't know Sasha's with them. So yeah, I guess
Yeah,
that's 2 variables. Sasha and
yeah.
this. And how about UPC? How do you think this gem is going to come into play?
Well, I mean, it's twofold for me. One, I think the fact that Anne still has some calamity juice left over is gonna come up. Like, there's gonna be a I think she's gonna have some of her powers still, and that's considering how combat centric the finale appears to be. I think that's gonna come into play to some extent. And yeah, I agree that absolutely this is the partially charged gem is going to lead to a delay of some kind in Andreas's plans. And honestly, I think this confirms to me that Andreas does not plan on sending the girls home because the fact that the gem is being charged, the fact that the gem is partially charged, kind of sets up that someone tries to do something with it and it fails. And that only really makes sense if Andreas is planning on taking the box and doing something not good with it.
And then the real question is whether this whatever Andrews is doing, if it's not good, will this flickering gem, will this incomplete gem make things worse or benefit our heroes?
Well, and that is the question, and it depends entirely on what the hell Andreas is up to.
Yeah, I guess the closest idea of what we know he wants is revenge, whatever that is, or how he's going to do that.
So I guess should we get into final thoughts, or is there anything else you guys want to cover?
Um. Well, I mean, I do, and I've said this in the chat before, but I just want to put it out there. I really like how the gem got partially charged because Anne was worried about like her loved ones, and that Andreas's plans are going to like be fouled because Anne has such a good heart and worries about and cares about her friends so much. Like
Yeah, that's great.
yeah, just fantastic incorporation.
So I'm just speeding through the episode.
Are you watching the episode right now, Thumb?
No, no, no. I'm just like I have it fast forward in another tab, and I'm just like quickly like scrolling through scenes. Like we got the reverse. I can't listen to it right now because it's gonna mess up the audio. But I know like the themes, not theme song, the music box theme got reversed when we got that quick flashback of Anne
Oh
stealing the box in
yeah.
the first place.
Yeah, that was interesting how they were playing the music box theme in reverse for that flashback. I I think it was probably just to sound creepy and like there's not like any kind of deep symbolism in that, but who
No,
knows?
there's no backwards message.
Oh,
One thing I disliked, which is not the episode's fault, is that essentially the money shots of these episodes were in the 2B trailer. So like Valeriana like activating, like preparing the recharge cycle, or not preparing the recharge cycle, just like in her Valeriana the white outfit, and then also the money shot of like Grime and Sasha holding up the hammer while it's powering up. I didn't
yeah.
like how the trailer included those.
I mean, yeah, the track the trailer had those was kind of lame. At least it wasn't the money shots; it was the lead up to them. Like I feel like the money shot of the second temple is absolutely the gem, like glowing and like the giant energy stuff, and Sasha and Anne's eyes draining. And I mean, the money shot for Barrel's Warhammer is absolutely them actually hitting the worm with the hammer. But the fact that those trailers still had the lead up to those shots is like a little
Why?
disappointing. Yeah, exactly.
Like, and I don't think we still would have been hyped if we didn't even see those scenes. We just saw something like a little bit more vague.
I mean, we would have had less to speculate about, but yeah, we didn't really need to see those to get hype. A little sad that they got kind of given away that early. Hopefully, that doesn't happen for the True Colors trailer.
I think so. I know for True Colors, Battle of the Bands, I've seen Michelangelo. We haven't seen. I don't think we've seen anything. We didn't see any of that in the trailer, other than the Newtopia scene and the flashback scene.
Yeah,
So
we see a few moments on top in Newtopia, and then we see. I mean, actually, we kind of probably see most of the flashback scene that we're gonna get in True Colors.
I know Lemur and I we had like a chat about the possible flashback scene in True Colors, where in Reunion the flashback scene was roughly 4 minutes, and then now in True Colors we're getting an additional 2 minutes, so we're getting a runtime of 24 minutes, and maybe 4 minutes of that could be for the flashback scene, but that's just speculation.
I would be surprised if the flashback was that long, to be honest. I mean, because this flashback appears to be how the girls first all got together, which will then be contrasted, of course, by True Colors, where all the girls split apart. And yes, I still believe that all three girls will be like split apart in True Colors.
I'm thinking that too, but it's more so because like the show already has to manage like writing a big cast with Anne and the planters alone. And then we've gotten so much of Marcy with the group already. Like, it feels like there's going to be a shakeup where it goes back to Anne and the planters, or maybe something different. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, I think we are getting a sizable flashback. I don't think it's going to be as bit long as the reunion flashback, though.
Unless a time skip between the girls, the girls as like toddlers, and then like pre-amphibia.
Okay. I could see if we see the girls like growing up as best friends, then I could see it being as long, like a montage. I could see that.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, I feel I feel that the flashback is, unless we get that, is probably going to be shorter.
Hmm. So I guess we'll get into final thoughts on these episodes. So I guess starting with Chuck, what were your thoughts on like both of these segments?
Uh, hmm. I like both. I obviously like both of them. They were pretty cool. I guess I was a bit disappointed about Beryl not being confirmed like a gem user, if he is one. I was really like hoping for that in this episode, but we didn't get that. Uh, I like the contrast between Anne and Sasha. Um, in this episode. Um, uh, I feel like this like entire episode is just like one big setup for the third temple, where we know Anne and Sasha are gonna meet, which is gonna be volcanic, as stated by Matt. Which I'm pretty excited to see. And I guess those are my thoughts.
And thanks, Chuck. And yeah, like you made a really good point about how like this is setting up both Anne and Sasha for their next encounter. And like the second temple is showing us like how far Anne has like grown as an individual, but then in
Sasha,
Beryl's Warhammer, yeah, Sasha's not.
yeah, it's like gone backwards, kinda, in a way.
I wouldn't say backwards, just her like.
Like, I don't know.
I don't know how to describe it.
Negative character development, maybe.
It's like she's moving forward in Amphibia, but she's moving backwards in her.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
Like, trying to put into words.
I mean, I think this is not a controversial statement that Sasha is, I guess, getting better in some ways and worse than others.
Yeah, probably the easiest way to put it.
But I guess that's why people love her so much. She's a.
Yeah.
How about you, Venom? What are your general thoughts on both of these episodes?
My final thoughts on the episodes. Despite the 11-minute runtime for both of these segments, these segments were paced pretty well, considering they're like played vital story parts that will be played within the next 3 weeks batch of episodes.
All right, thank you, Venom. And like PC, what are your thoughts on these episodes?
I think these are perfect setups for the lead into the finale, and yeah, this is absolutely both of these episodes are going to have huge implications on True Colors. First off, obviously, partially charged Jim. We've already talked about Anne's development and then mirrored by Sasha's kind of not reverse development, but like developing in a downward spiral. I forgot who said this on the main Discord. And I apologize. It might have been that Morty Smith person, but they said that, and they pointed out, and I think this was like a great thing to point out, that Anne compromised her mission by taking the gem early to help her friends, and Sasha compromised her friendship to complete her mission. And I think the contrast between those two things is, I mean, it's stark, to say the least. I will say, I do like how we finally have a solid Toad army for the rebellion. That's going to be fun. I will also note that the Toads now have a Narwhal worm, which I'm pretty sure they're going to be using to break through the Utopian Gate. I mean,
Yeah, and yeah, the Narwhal worm seemed to be just like chilling at the end, or just
yeah,
resting.
he's just kind of taking a nap right outside the tower. They make it very clear that he's still alive and around.
And he can travel in both water and land, which Utopia is surrounded by a body of water.
Yeah. All right. Someone in the chat has just informed me it was Wazy2. I don't. Wazy2? Wazy2? Well, Wazy2. That was a great observation, and you deserve full credit for that.
And like we have a new army. We have a new army. We have versus the Toad army, and we still don't know what's going on with that Frog Rebellion.
I think the Frog Rebellion is going to be conglomerated with the Toads, personally.
That's what I was thinking too, because like, well, like they're already against Utopia, and probably the Toads are their best like choice, their best option. I don't know. I was hoping we'd get a little bit more about the rebellion ever since like Reunion, but I guess we'll have to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, we've heard about the Frog Rebellion starting out as riots and then escalating to a countrywide thing multiple times, and we've actually yet to see any frog rebels. And god damn it, I want to see some frog warriors. We haven't really seen any.
We've only seen Polly.
Yeah, but Polly's a special case. I want to see like straight up frogs doing their best to go to war. Like, we know that they can. There's the planter ancestor, Pollyanna, I believe, the turned up warrior. Also, as long as we're talking about the various armies, I mean, we know that there's going to be a Frobo army in season 3, right?
Well, we know Frobo for sure is going to eventually be a one-man army for whatever conflict he gets pulled into.
Yeah, but they're robot factories. You don't have robot factories if you're not going to make a bunch of robots,
Yeah, we'll see about that too, especially since Newtopia has like some sort of technology in whatever basement in Andrews's basement.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how this all winds up. At this point in time, I'm not sure if the rebellion is going to succeed or not. I could see it going both ways.
I could see Andrews succeeding in whatever he has planned, but losing Newtopia.
Yeah, I think that is a distinct possibility. I I think even if the rebellion succeeds, Andreas is not going down. I think he is too big and too important to lose in season 2. But as for at the end of the day, who's going to be sitting on the throne in Newtopia, I'm not sure. I could see it going. I could see the rebellion working. I could see Grime fighting his way to the throne room, only to be captured or put down by Andreas.
And like after Sasha's like gem powers like wore off, like she wasn't really able to like wield the hammer, but Grime was, and like I wouldn't be surprised if Grime brought that weapon, start to use that weapon as like his main against a certain Newt King.
Yeah, no, we're getting the hammer Grime. We're getting the hammer Grime kicking ass. The only real question is, did it get enough juice from Sasha to have the rocket stuff going on, or is it just going to be a normal hammer from now on?
I think a rocket hammer would definitely put up a fight with Andreas. I'm not sure about a non-powered one.
I feel like if Grime is going to go up against Andreas, he's going to need a power up.
Yep. And for myself, like I really enjoyed this batch of episodes. Like in terms of 11-minute segments, like this is up there for myself for season 2. And like this is like the events of both of these episodes are definitely going to play a role later on. So like I can see these episodes like the rewatchability of these segments are going to be high.
No, these 2 episodes are just fantastic. Like, I think some of the best of the season easily.
Yep, and I think that concludes this week's episode, which surprisingly we are within time.
Wow, we didn't go over.
But I just want to thank you guys so much for coming on tonight. And thank you for whoever's listening. I know Eastern time it's late. Maybe just now like the Southeastern Asia gang is waking up. But thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week. Say goodbye, everyone.
All right. I will see you later, but not for the next 2 weeks. So someone else will have to do the ranting and raving for me.
That's what Usebix is for. And then I'll have you both on for True Colors.
That should be interesting.
Nice.
But,
nice. No, you go ahead.
Oh, yeah, Chuck, you still got to do the shout out.
Shout out to Nick. He's cool.
All right, good shout out, buddy. You did it.